Hello everyone. Hi, it's Jamie here. I'm a bit late to the party on this one. I want to do a review on Season 8, Episode 3 of Game of Thrones. The infamous Battle of Winterfell. Winterfell. Now, yeah, I am like a week late, and there's videos that have been done to death on this topic. But, I kind of wanted to put my 2 cents on the matter. So, why not? So, where to begin with this episode? The writing, I think anyone can agree, if you read the books, the writing definitely after, I would say, season 5-ish, has gone gradually downhill, slowly but surely. But I would say, with season 7 and 8, those are the worst offenders in terms of shoddy writing, because I feel like what they've done in terms of like cutting down the episodes per season is that they just done loads of like plot rushing and like time skips, and everything is just a mess. It seems like D&D, Dan and Dave, Dumber and Dumber, Dipshit and Dumbass. That's one good one I heard. Dipshit and Dumbass. Shout out to who said that one. They just seem to be wanting to like wrap things up and like just like really like fast forward with the series. If you've been watching season 8, you know what I mean. Everything just seems so rushed and forced and but that's a different topic entirely. So let's start off with the beginning of this episode. So at the beginning of this episode, we have the Dothraki horde. They're all lined up and they're ready. They're raring to go. So first off, my main complaint with this is, okay, where is the dragon glass weapons? Like, as you know, even if you're like a casual fan, the undead, the White Walkers, the Whites, which are basically the White Walkers minions, can only be slain with fire or dragon glass. So the Dothraki don't have any dragon glass weapons. So what were they exactly supposed to do? So if Melisandre didn't show up with the fire buff, they pretty much couldn't do anything to the opposing army. And on the subject of that, what was Ghost? Why the hell was the direwolf in the front lines with Jorah? Like, what the fuck? Like, John, why is your direwolf there? I don't like. He can't. And I also heard someone say this: unless Ghost is equipped with freaking dragon glass dentures, I don't think he's gonna do much. He's gonna get killed. Like, what the hell? It's idiocy at its highest levels. So Melisandre comes in. She gives everyone the fire buff. Woo! All their like. I don't know the specific term for the weapon, but I'll just say swords. All their swords light up. And it's like, from like a viewing perspective, it's like a really good visual. It's, it's all bright and it's very appealing and all that. So it looks cool. And then, for some reason, they charge in forward. Rah! Because, they got a morale boost now, all their weapons are on fire, and they're really feeling it, and it's like, okay, you're just charging into pitch black darkness? Are you sure that's a good idea? I mean, it's one thing to charge into like an enemy's ranks, but you got to remember, Dothraki, look at them, they're not heavy shock cavalry. They are literally like cavalry. They have no armor, no heavy armor, no mail. They don't have any like lances or polearms. They're light cavalry. They're not supposed to be used to smash into the front of the enemy lines. They're supposed to be used in more of like, tactical maneuvers, like, flank around the enemy, hit them from the rear or from behind, or used to like finish off any routing enemies that are fleeing from the battlefield, because they're like cavalry, they can move faster. This idea was really derpy. Keep in mind, this isn't a regular army either. This is an army of the undead, so even like a cavalry charge with heavy cavalry, which the Dothraki are not, wouldn't break the morale of the troops, because they're undead. Like, the undead, they don't feel any pain. They have no morale. They're just mindless zombies running amok. So, terrible strategy plan. Once again, from like a visual perspective, like watching a TV show, it does look kind of cool. It gives the viewer that sense of like, but like, uneasiness when all the lights on their swords slowly dim out one by one by one. But in terms of like a realistic military strategy, and I'm not saying I'm a military commander or anything. I mean, I've played a few Total War games, but I'm not saying I'm a military genius, but it just seems like it was really, really, really derpy. Okay, so another issue a lot of people had. When I first watched this episode, I didn't have this issue too much. Well, essentially, I watched this episode because I live in the UK, so for me, I have to watch it at like 2 a.m. I think it airs at like 9 p.m., 10 p.m. in North America, so yeah, it's 2 a.m. for me. I pretty much had all my lights out, so I was watching it in my room, and it seemed fine on the first viewing, but when I watched it the next day, you know, it was in the middle of the day, I had all the lights on. The visibility was definitely an issue, I have to admit, especially with all like the shaky cams, and it was just kind of a clusterfuck. I don't know what happened there with the lighting. It was very odd. Yeah, and the plot armor was all over the place. Like, apart from, spoiler alert, I guess, Jorah and Theon, and who's the guy with the flaming sword? I forgot him already. Rip. I'm sure I remember it. Beric? Is it Beric? I don't know. Anyways, regardless. You've got people who are, especially Grey Worm. Grey Worm surprised me. Grey Worm is literally fighting on the front lines with the Unsullied, and he somehow survives unscathed. Well, whilst most of his brothers are getting massacred. I will give one props. I think that the Unsullied, in terms of strategy with the Unsullied, they were doing their job. You know, they were in a tight formation, a phalanx formation. They were trying to hold the line. When the undead horde broke through, they were making a strategical retreat back into the castle. Nothing wrong with that. That was definitely a lot more smarter using the Unsullied than how Dany used the Dothraki. Just charging the Dothraki in to like get slaughtered. A suicidal move. I feel the walls could have been used better, so they could have had more troops inside the walls. Now, granted, the Dothraki, they excel fighting on open fields, equipped with their cavalry on their horses. But, you know, it would have saved a lot more. They wouldn't have all died within, like, the course of, like, 3 seconds. You know, they could have had more archers on the walls, more people manning the walls. I mean, that's what a castle's for, you know. To help defend yourself, you know. It doesn't make sense why they fought out on the field, in my opinion, but it is what it is, I guess. Daenerys. Okay. Daenerys, why you just stand there with your dragon? There was one part where Daenerys kind of saves Jon. She breathes dragon fire on some of the undead, the whites, and for some reason she's staring at Jon. She's on the ground for like a good 3 seconds, and all of a sudden you just see like the whites, the undead, rah, they just jump on a dragon like fucking fleas on like a fucking cow or something, and just like stabbing away at the dragon with their swords. And it's just like, what the hell are you doing? It's like, you could have easily avoided that. It was just stupid. My throat is parched. Hang on a minute. I need to get a drink. Okay, that's better. I did like Ser Jorah's death. I thought, you know, it was very well true to his character, and that's pretty much how I imagined his story arc was pretty much over. That's how I imagined him going out, you know, fighting and defending Daenerys, you know, the woman he loved and admired, giving his life for her. And Theon, Theon was a good death as well. Although I don't know how Jorah got there. I guess he got teleporting powers, but, you know, that aside, I enjoyed Jorah's death. Theon, I give props to Theon as well. He charged in like a warrior. I don't know how the Night King's wooden spear stabbed through his plate armor, but yeah, that happened. And also, isn't Bran kind of like a troll? Because Bran knows what's happening. He can see into the future and the past. So isn't he pretty much just like, Theon, you're a good man? And it's like, he knows in the back of his head, oh shit, Theon, you don't have to really... I guess like Theon has to die to buy him time for... Well, we're getting to that in a minute. So like, I guess Theon is like a sacrificial pawn to buy time before you know who gets there to deliver the finishing blow. Great. But other than that, you know, Theon's redemption arc, it was pretty good. The kid has been through a lot of shit, but then again, he did do a lot of shit as well. Remember back in, I think it was season 2, where, you know, he kind of captured Winterfell, and he hung those two farmer boys, and he was pretending basically they were Rickon and Bran. That's a pretty deplorable act. Yeah, but you know, I say in the long run, I'd say Theon did redeem himself in the long run. You know, he did some shitty things, but also he did some good things in the end. So you know, fair play to Theon. Not my favourite character, but I in my opinion, I'd say he was redeemed, definitely. Oh, and okay, here we are gonna go right on with the ending, with the infamous Arya one-shot stealth kill Easlow GG noob. Like, what? Apparently this is Dan and Dave's idea of subverting the viewer's expectations. Fuck me and fuck you, you stupid ass. I'm just getting angry thinking about it. It's just, how can you build up such a main threat and antagonist for seasons upon seasons upon seasons for them to just get killed in such a lame manner? I don't even think the Night King drew his sword once through that entire episode. He didn't even fight. Hell, none of the White Walker generals, they didn't do shit. They did nothing. Like, what were they there for? Just to walk around and look pretty? I was expecting at least them to fight. It's like, and in the courtyard with the werewood tree, and you've got Bran there, is like, the Night King is literally surrounded by all his generals, by a ton of whites, you know, minion undeads, and like no one can sense Arya, but they do sense Arya. He grabs her by the neck, and at this very moment I was like, oh shit, are they gonna kill Arya off? That would be cool, you know, because not many characters have died this episode. But it's like, oh wait, she's letting go of a dagger. Oh, she caught in the other hand and she poked him with the pointy end, and he explodes into ice, and that's it. Bye, Night King. What? Like, this is the kind of shit you would read as like a meme or a really bad fan fiction. How that I don't even know how. This is definitely, in my opinion, the worst episode in Game of Thrones history, which is ironic because in a way it was the most hyped episode in Game of Thrones history. This is even worse than when they fucking killed Littlefinger. It's like, that, how they killed, I'm going on a tangent here, but how they killed Littlefinger was so lame. Like, Bran, Arya, and Sansa all teamed up to outsmart him. Like, yeah, fuck off. It's like, Littlefinger has decades of experience of playing the game. You think those three can, like, outsmart him? It was just a way, because, you know, Dan and Dave, they wanted to rush the season, and they had a dilemma. Littlefinger was still present. It was like, okay, well, we're getting into the later seasons now where we're dealing with the White Walkers and the final battle with Cersei and Daenerys and Jon and all this, so there isn't going to be much room for Littlefinger in terms of, you know, the whole political scheming and that. So pretty much they were looking for a quick, unimaginative way to get him out the series, to kill him off, and yeah, I did not like that at all. That's probably my second least favourite episode. This one takes the cake though. And I also want to talk about episode 4. I think episode 4 is better than episode 3, despite it being a lot more. It's kind of like, you know, the morning after the heroes have won and everything. It's more of a laid back, short episode. But that was a bit better. There's still 2 more episodes left, so I'm holding out that maybe they'll be better. But it just seems the way things are going, everything is so rushed and forced. And how, like, everyone's making Daenerys to be the Mad Queen and all that. It's just like, if they had, like, a whole season to build upon this, give it a bit more foreshadowing, it would seem more, you know, less artificial and more, like, realistic. But the fact that they cut the seasons down to, like, 6-7 episodes, it really does hurt. Everything is just rushed and crammed in. Because, you know, Dan and Dave, they want to, you know, hurry up and brush the series off so they can get on to make the Star Wars trilogy and fuck that up. But yeah, but the point I'm getting at, it should have been, I know this is like very cliche and generic, Jon should have been the one to slay the Night King. Let's think about it. Like, Jon's entire arc since, you know, the 2nd season has been him, you know, being a member of the Night's Watch, and you know, knowing about the White Walker threat and the Night King. You remember that stare down they had at Hardhome where Jon is like slowly going away and he's just given the Night King that stare down? That's some shit right there. Like, Jon should have been the one to do it. I don't care what anyone says, it should have been Jon, not this bullshit. And okay, here's the thing, right? If you want Arya to kill the Night King, oh, fine, fair enough. I mean, I still don't like it because, like, Night King has nothing to do with Arya's overarching plot or story, right? The Night King isn't on her kill list. She didn't even know anything about the Night King or the White Walkers until, like, last season. It's like, it'd be the equivalent of Jon killing Cersei. It's like, why is Jon killing Cersei? It's nothing to do with his story arc. It makes no sense. And I'm going to make a bet. I guarantee, I'm almost certain that Arya's probably going to kill Cersei as well. Either that or Jaime's going to kill her. Or maybe Daenerys might just burn her with dragonfire. Who knows? But yeah, it just seems like you go from fighting like a crazy, powerful, endless army of the undead to fighting Cersei, who's like a middle-aged woman with a drinking problem, who's a bit psychotic. You know, you go from fighting endless armies of the undead to like just regular mercenaries, like the Golden Company, and they don't even have elephants. And I guess they've also got some Lannister troops and some Greyjoy troops. But you know, compared to that, that's really lackluster and underwhelming. So yeah, they really cut my boy Jon. They really, really, really cut him. Oh, they literally, the prince that was promised, they literally stole it all underneath him. And yes, I know about Jon did not pet Ghost. Jon, I'm not gonna lie, right? You are my favourite character and I love you. But, come on, man. Pet the fucking direwolf, dude. Like, he literally had, like, half of his hair chewed off. Like, and he was, like, so sad. Like, and this is coming from me. I'm a big Jon Snow fan. And I'm like, you know, I'm not, like, the biggest animal person either. But even I was like, oh, come on, dude. You've got a pet your direwolf. Like, he's been with you through thick and thin. And you're just gonna walk past him and nod. Like, what the hell? Like, that is cold, dude. I almost forgot about fucking Sam as well. Like I said before, everyone through this episode, the main characters, all had plot armor. But at least you can make the argument that Grey Worm can fight, Brienne can fight, the Hound can fight, Jaime can fight despite having, you know, a crippling disadvantage being a golden arm. So they had plot armor, but at least you can kind of justify, okay, they're seasoned warriors. So it's like, how the fuck is Samwell motherfucking Tarly still alive? Like, this fat piece of shit is just on the floor crying, blubbering like an idiot. He's literally got whites everywhere hugging him. Like, how is he still alive? So you're telling me you've got the Unsullied, the Dothraki, and loads of seasoned Northmen who are like warriors and fighters. They all get killed within seconds. But this fat slob is literally piled on by fucking whites, and he somehow survives? Yeah, okay. Like, and I like Samwell, but like, I feel like this completely kind of like, in terms of character development, it kind of digressed his character because his father was always like, oh, you're a pussy, Samwell. You bring dishonor to our family. All you do is read books. You're not a man. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but after seeing that episode, I think I kind of agree with Samwell's dad. He is a bit of a pussy. Like, what the? He wasn't even fighting at the time, and how he's, okay. I think I'm done now. I think that's enough. So, yeah, that's my little review. Well, that was more of a rant, to be honest, if I'm being honest with you. So, yeah, if you liked it, if anyone watched it, feel free to, leave a comment in the comment section. Maybe a like, I don't know, that'd be cool, I guess. It doesn't bother me, but, and maybe if I'm not feeling completely lazy, which I usually am always lazy, I'll maybe make a review for the upcoming episode, which is Season 5 of Season 8, or the overall finale to Game of Thrones. and it might be a positive filled video, or it might be a semi-rant, we'll see. So yeah, anyway, thanks if anyone watched this, peace, goodbye, and good night.